Okay, this is it. Welcome to the Weekly Hijack.
Hi, Hatch.
Hi, Hatch. This is it, the Season 1 finale.
Exodus Part 2.
We made it all the way through, guys.
All right. Season 1 complete. Achievement unlocked.
Woohoo! Man, this one really, even more than Part 1, tied in all kinds of threads from, like, the Part 1 was sort of like setting up this one, and then, like, this one just tied in all kinds of stuff from throughout the whole season, just really well.
Almost everyone's backstory played in at some point, at least a little bit, you know.
Hurley's numbers, of course, was a big deal, and then you had that really interesting conversation with Sun and Shannon
about whether they're being punished or not,
because of all the lies. And then Claire's like, "No, there's no such thing as fate."
Which is interesting because she's the one who paid the psychic to get her there.
Yeah, but then later determined, no, I think he just made it up. Yeah. So lots of. And
then Jack and Locke have very interesting conversations.
Yeah, much more after all the undertones, and they have a very overt conversation. You're the. Kind of laying things out and sort of a preview for the future. We're going to have a Locke problem.
We're going to have a Locke problem.
Well, they have a lot of Locke problems going on, but
Locke wanting to go with the smoke creature, which we see some of the, I did forgot we got a little bit of the smoke thing.
Well, and what's remarkable too about Locke is how much he's half right.
Like he's yes.
Like some of them were brought to the island for a purpose, not all, some.
The smoke monster was probably testing him. I mean,
it's possible.
Some manner.
It's hard to think that the smoke monster would want to kill him because Locke had way too much potential for his own purposes. Yeah. But
he can't kill him technically, can he?
No, I guess that's true. No, he can't. As a candidate, no, he's
already been playing the Hey Mystic Island, listen to me number.
Yeah.
On Locke.
Pretty much.
I love the thing. You like to play games, don't you, Locke? Because there's this, the mousetrap and the operation and the constant
and all the other undertones.
Yeah, lots of there's a lot of good things to say about this episode and Lost in general. But like the last scene where everyone's just sitting down the last flashback scene when everyone's just sitting down the airplane, which out of context would be a horribly boring scene. Because everyone's just sitting down.
Right.
But it's amazing how all these little things mean so much because of the way Lost functions. That it is, at least 2 layers, if not more, at any one time.
Yeah.
And most shows don't play on that many layers at one time.
Because at that moment, a lot of the important things that brought them to that place, and a lot of the important things, at least in terms of this season, that are about to happen to them. So it's a really interesting moment in time, but it's only because it's a moment because everything you know.
Yeah, but you see how all they've changed and how much there's meaning in little looks, and most shows can't pull off that so much in little things just because they're not. Lost plays constantly at least 2 time levels, if not more.
I wonder if some shows would have started with them all getting on the plane, like that'd be an way to introduce your characters, like kind of build up all the stuff and then do the plane crashes. Yeah, but
I think it's one of those things that really shows you that Lost is very heavy on the mystery, but very heavy on the characters. But you don't have a 5-minute scene of people just sitting down that doesn't actually move the plot forward. But it moves what you care about Lost forward. Which is these people's lives. Mm-hmm. This is who we were, and here who we are now, which is the entire season 6.
Yeah, right. But before we get
too far,
we get too far, it'd be fun to go from the beginning of this episode and move.
Yeah, we should have done that. Go for it.
We should do that in chronology. But we just finished, so big things. But first, before Nick and I go off in crazy land, do any of the other residents of the living room want to pitch in something here?
I just want to say the end of this, the cliffhanger end, is what a huge fan like me who watched from the beginning, from episode 1, just loved about this show. I remember there being a time later, I don't know when it was exactly, because I don't know when the show ended, but my first child was born in 2009. And I remember thinking, and we don't have TV at home. We would come over to the in-laws to watch TV. And I remember thinking, I have got to find a way to still go over there every day and watch this show, even though I have a new baby. I am going to watch Lost.
No, you're right, because I was...
Cliffhanger endings are just amazing.
Oh, yeah. And they keep coming up with new crazy cliffhangers every season. But this first one, I mean, I was not in Lost at the very beginning, but this would be a hard one, I can only imagine.
Well, and the finales are always like that. But even, especially later on, even the individual episodes just like, they're like a smack you in the face, and you're like, I gotta come back next week.
I'm really surprised they didn't put a little bit of the other side of the island in it, or the other people.
The other? Oh.
They kept talking about it with the fire and stuff,
yeah.
But it never appeared.
Mm-hmm. Until the very, very end.
The boat people.
The boat.
Well, okay, the boat. But
yeah.
you didn't know they were on the other side.
They and that's the thing, they don't reveal.
They didn't on the other side at all.
No.
Until a few episodes later.
The others appear more in next season, but we really don't start delving into their history until season 3.
Yeah. I mean, they keep that mystery going along. You know, and that's the thing. Just give them enough to get... every time they introduce something, they show us a little more so we don't get bored, but they never just say, and here's the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing with I remember the writer saying with the smoke monster, with the monster. Mm-hmm. Everything they showed him, they had to reveal a little bit more about him.
Yeah, but not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is speaking of smoke monster, well, this is the first time we actually see the smoke monster.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard him, we've seen him, he's appeared off camera. Still love to know what Locke saw that first time. That, you know, because what Locke saw this time and what he saw the first time were very, very different. Yeah, but we'll come back to that. Cool. All right, Crazy Land it is.
Oh, right.
No, I thought it'd be fun to kind of go from the beginning episode back, because like let's talk about Arts real quick.
Yes,
because Arts is a really interesting character. Because I mean, in retrospect, he's very clearly a character brought in to be blown up. because his death, I mean, his is really a necessary death to kind of set up the whole danger of the dynamite. Because otherwise, a TV audience isn't going to think that much about it.
But they want you to, like last episode, he ran away like he's going to get hurt, and then he didn't. Or they almost tease him at being death. And then this time, it's like he's a character. Like, no, this is just one. It's like their first attempt at Nikki Paulo sort of thing.
I don't know. For me, I have a hard since this was a scene that I'd heard about because Joanna just thought it was hilarious. My sister. So knowing that before, it's hard to like watch this without waiting. Okay, when is he gonna get blown up? When's it gonna happen?
And they keep pushing it. I mean,
they really do.
I mean, he wraps the dynamite. He does all this stuff, and then boom!
It's just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Dude.
And he's such a ridiculous character in some ways. Just like he's this high school teacher that never stops trying to teach, and has this very. He reminds me of some science teachers I had in school, in college, were very frustrated that no one took their science as seriously as they did. I won't name names,
but it's very effective because that's the intro, and then it goes, it does Lost.
Yeah.
So you set the whole thing up, and then it's a real stakes, and it's surprising, it's funny and serious at the same time.
Like poor Hurley,
but it's not like
they
just try. They just take it, but they do all this stuff. They're careful, and then he's like, "No, I have the answer," and they work for it,
and that they do.
And then you have wonderful lines like, "There's a little arts on you."
I love seeing like just this is gonna sound weird, but like all the beads of sweat that are on Jack and Locke's face when they're handling.
Well, not only does it establish a dynamite, but it's also a great lead into Hurley's whole "I'm unlucky" thing, which we haven't heard since.
That's true.
And
a great tie into that and the numbers.
The number of things they're juggling pretty effortlessly is pretty amazing.
I mean, and speaking of numbers, there are a lot of little Easter eggs that were planted in this
There's
episode.
A lot of those numbers in this episode.
I have to admit, though, one thing that people got obsessed over that I never really got was the whole Hurley bird
I don't
thing.
understand. It's just
It's something they got obsessed with, like, because some people thought the birds sounded like it said Hurley. It doesn't sound like that much to me, honestly.
That's one of those things, just like, you're looking too deep.
Yeah.
I mean.
Seriously. Okay, I was trying to think.
What then happened? They're on the boat.
Something interesting that struck me about the Charlie flashback, and I think this fed back into later, is interesting. I think this is true to human nature. Like, he's fighting with that girl about the last remaining heroine, and she basically, when she storms off, I think she calls him pathetic.
I thought the same thing. Well, and she's stealing the champagne at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's such a because they're both have the same problems, obviously, but it's so easy to when you're in that situation, it's just as easy to point out the speck in your brother's eye. I guess
I thought it was interesting that then later Charlie calls
Rousseau
so pathetic.
Yeah,
and he has the. And
again, I mean, that's kind of like when Charlie was quick to criticize. He is quick to criticize sometimes.
He's injured very easily.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's this guilt thing that makes you want to push blame on other people. Like Sayid is like, there'll be plenty of time to push blame later. There's plenty to go around. But I think that's an interesting character quirk that I hadn't picked up on before. And speaking of picking up on other things, man, you really feel bad for Shannon in this episode.
Yeah.
I think this watch through, maybe because of Natasha's influence, who knows. But this watch through has gotten me to respect Shannon a little bit more.
And the Shannon Sayid thing really, I don't think I watched all season 1 originally and just like, I remember Shannon dying like, oh, who cares? But she's a real character and the relationship is real, especially on Sayid's end.
Certainly. And you definitely feel, she sees him coming back and, it means a big deal for someone who has lost the person.
And they're still working through Boone's death. I mean, this is they've processed that one a long time.
Well, I mean, it's only been a few episodes.
I know, but later on, they're like, people are just dying left and right.
Well, okay. That's true.
You just don't have the time later on.
Yeah. But this is all about the survivors and okay, I have to go back to Arts real quick. So I had to laugh when he said something to Hurley about, it's like, all these there's 40 other survivors, we're all people too.
Yeah.
I like
How do you keep your weight on?
I just like him being the mouthpiece for like all the other nameless people that just get kind of thrown to the wolves.
Then we got another Steve.
Scott and Steve mix up.
Yes. From Sawyer this time.
Yeah. Okay, going to the guys in the raft then. Really sweet moment between Michael and Jen when they were talking. And I like it's very subtle, but like in the way the shot was framed, Jen had his hand on the rudder, and you could see he still has that handcuff on him from back when he and Michael were totally at odds. Yeah. Now to see them kind of rekindle, or not rekindle, that sounds weird.
You had a sweet moment.
They had the bromance. They've got their own Han and Chewie thing going.
Well, it's interesting with Sawyer, and they play this up other times too. But like man like that, either wants to be a hero or is one to
that's a death wish. Yeah,
it's a death wish. And it's interesting then when Walt's taken, he basically plays the hero, and he routinely does that. He tries to be the guy who wants a death wish, and then he can't quite pull it off.
He's nice to spite himself, and when it really counts.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
I think that's why people love Sawyer.
Yeah, it's true.
And especially kids. He has the soft spot for the kids.
Yeah, and that's a grudge. Them taking Walt as a grudge he held on to for a while. Yeah. And till season finale of 3. And
then we have the Sayid Charlie running through the forest.
Oh yeah,
plot line. Which creepy French lady is super creepy at that point, trying to ask for the baby.
Oh, yes. When she's approaching Claire's like, this isn't quite right.
This is not good.
Something's, yeah.
And then Charlie sees the drugs.
Yeah, and we're all like, oh no.
And which is, very clever on the writer's part to do a flashback with the drugs, so they don't have to do any explanation or anything if you're new. Or
That's true.
It's already at the front of your mind, and then you're like,
the previously on had a lot of like setup, so they were prepared. Like if no one knew Lost, they can start at the season.
And I wonder,
they'd be fine.
Buzz had probably been building a long time. Everyone's like, you gotta watch this.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
But then I always remember that him called her sealing up the wound with the gunpowder. That was one of my first exposure to Lost. Like their extreme.
Painful sequences?
Pain sequences. They're always like putting shoulders back in or breaking legs or something ridiculous.
Sawyer and Charlie is not that's not necessarily a pair that you see
Sayid and Charlie.
That's what I meant. Sayid and Charlie. You don't see Charlie is very kind of talk about the main characters being cliquish according to Arts, but they tend to have these groupings, and you get Charlie and Hurley obviously, and Charlie and Claire a lot. But then this first season, you saw Charlie kind of bounce around.
Yeah, he doesn't fit in. That's his whole kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's like he's like a not quite Boone level, but I'm trying to be important here.
Yeah, basically. He has a lot of that.
So, okay, question. So they get there, and Rousseau was trying to trade the baby for Alex. Did she start the fire, or did the others start the fire? It was really actually unclear.
It really was.
And it could read either way. It would be very odd for the others to start the fire. I mean, why would they bother to announce what they're doing?
Not unless it's like some... I don't know if the
Well, they do have weird religious
They do have some weird religious ideas. And, I mean, and clearly she did... Most likely, she did hear whispers talk about going to get the boy.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Again, in classic Lost misdirection, they were talking about Walt, not Aaron.
They like to kick you in the teeth.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Speaking of which, okay, that scene where they get rescued, they're all happy, the music's triumphant.
Oh man, it's after you've seen this, it's impossible to watch that without feeling just kind of sick, because you know what's going to happen. Then, so it's impossible for me to feel any happiness about that.
And then what's his name? I don't even remember his name. That of the others, he's like
Mr. Friendly.
Mr. Friendly. It was like, oh really? Glad we were out here. And then he's like, we're going to have to take the boy. And then there's pause. And then Michael's like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And the way they just stringed it out. First time you can't just be kicked in the teeth. You're like, what is this?
Yeah. And what's funny is at a later time, the others would have just taken all of them. I mean, they could take him over to the other island, locked up the men and kept Waltz to do whatever they wanted or whatever they were doing. But I don't know, who knows.
Well, the thing is, that's why I don't know that the others did the smoke, because the smoke made them launch a raft early.
That's true, yeah.
Unless they were planning to come to the beach and get Walt, and then they had to go catch up.
It's possible too, how would they have known that the black smoke would have scared the survivors if Rousseau hadn't gone and told them the story about the black smoke? They may have just thought, hey, it'll probably drive them right to us. Because wouldn't that be more the survivors' tactic? Not run and hide.
That's true. It's go and, what is this thing?
Yeah.
That's true. And it's very interesting that it's black smoke, so it might be a religious thing.
Yeah. It's possible. Although, again...
It could be a Rousseau, saying, I remember black smoke at some point, so therefore I'm going to...
Yeah. That could be on her...
And we don't really need to know, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Although, I guess, again, another argument in favor of it being the others who started it is she took the baby over to where the black smoke was.
That's true.
So maybe thinking, apparently, that's where she'd meet him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the thing is, I don't think... Either answer makes sense, and I'm not sure knowing would make it a better...
Yeah. My question is, what was she actually burning to keep it smoking all day long?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I'm curious.
Well, I love the little explanation. She's been here 16 years. She can set traps fast. I'm like, so you got that thing up in the tree with the rocks.
She ran through the jungle. They were 5 minutes behind her baby. She ran through the jungle with the baby. Set the trap.
She probably does know better. She probably knows faster paths through the jungle.
I wonder.
They apparently followed her directly.
Well, they paused. They had to get the guns. They had to comfort Claire. I mean, they probably were at least 10 seconds.
She's only carrying a baby.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, she probably runs faster than Charlie does.
Well, I wondered.
With a baby in her arms.
Probably. Than Charlie.
It's probably, you never know. I don't know. I thought maybe she might have had part of the trap set up, and then she just put the blanket there to.
It would not be unlikely for her to do that, because she's always been planning. I mean, there's been an idea in her head probably for a long time.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Look, I'm trying to remember now how she knew that. How would she know that they had a baby in camp?
Well, remember Claire had a flashback. She'd apparently met her sometime in the forest. I don't think we've seen that yet.
But I don't remember that at all. I thought it was just Ethan.
Maybe Rousseau did come to the camp sometime to...
Yeah, so obviously there's been connection there, and I don't think we're supposed to know it yet.
Or maybe, no. When Claire escaped from the others, maybe she encountered her then. When she was on the way back, when Juliet was helping her escape.
Possibly. Yeah, I think we get more clarity to that next season.
Okay.
But yeah, so there is obviously... I mean, so French lady's crazy. and there's more mystery there. And that's the thing. They just keep adding layers of things, and then they end with the whole
hatch.
Not only the hatch, you don't see it, but Hurdle is like, the numbers.
Oh, one thing. This is unrelated, but one thing I was thinking: the Black Rock, the structure of the Black Rock. I wonder if what they show in this episode matches what they show later with
Richard Albert.
Richard Albert. Yeah.
Rupert.
Albert Richard.
Anyway, I didn't remember those scenes. The boat seemed a lot more sparse. In this scene, it was just packed with stuff. So I would be interested. Maybe
when they flipped over, who knows? Yeah.
Episodes back to back to see if they changed some of the structure.
But yeah, I forgot they already got the whole slave ship thing in and mining and they obviously had plans for.
Did the slave ship come from Africa?
I do not remember. Locke was just guessing too, so.
Richard's not African.
No, he's Spanish.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was. I have to look that up on.
He was in a prison somewhere, and who knows where they did stuff.
I mean, Remarkable Arts was also guessing about how the ship got there, and
I think he was probably right. Yeah, I mean,
he's pretty accurate. I mean, from what we know, Storm.
Yeah, Storm took him in. Yep. So sometimes things are not mysterious as you make it. Though I do love the. Why is it here? Are you on the same island I am?
These weird things happen.
Russo doesn't even ask anymore. She's just like, lots of great twists. I mean. Just a lot of stuff happening, which is why you need an hour and a half. You can do it probably an hour, but you just...
Yeah.
You miss the whole, 5-minute Hurley running to the airport, which is not only hilarious, but just say, it's your lucky day.
That you got on this plane, yeah.
It's just wonderfully ironic.
I know, it's so sad. He hugs the lady, and she's so happy for him.
He's trying to get home to his mom's birthday.
Aww.
What must she have thought later?
Never to be seen again.
Poor guy. Again, you could have come in and started from this episode, but at the same time, there's so much to reward people who have been watching and paying attention from the first season. Mm-hmm. Just all the character moments, all the build up, and there's plenty more to come.
And now we go deep in the rabbit hole next season.
Nice analogy.
Yes, thank you.
So next season, Desmond, the Hatch, Buttons,
Henry Gale.
The tail end people.
More smoke monster.
More flashbacks.
More flashback.
More heroin.
Wow, there you go.
All the things you love about
and
Lost.
a lot more baby Palooza. Oh wait, and Walt.
Lots more Walt. Yeah. Look forward to that.
I think I'll enjoy it more. We like to make fun of it, but I do enjoy that whole arc. It works for Michael.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see season 2. It's quite a
different season,
mixed bag of stuff. Yes, quite a different season from this one. A lot more mythology building. So yeah, so where does Lost go when after you've delved into its characters this much, you kind of have to delve into island history a bit more next, I think. Well, be on the lookout for that. It may not be next week, but it'll be before you know it.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Thank you, everyone in the living room. Thank you for listening. Until then, this is Tim.
This is Nick.
Good night.
Bye.